I have this little video here. This little video from the Twitters where this lady, Amy Meck, founder and editor-in-chief, the RAIR Foundation. I don't know what that is. RAIR? I don't know what that is. But she said, New York City has lost its mind. Mayor Adams has elevated Muhammad's birthday to holiday status in New York City. Just days before the anniversary of 9/11, the deadliest Islamic terror attack on American soil, New York City has surrendered itself to Islam. At City Hall, Mayor Eric Adams presided over a celebration of the Prophet Muhammad, the exact figure invoked by the 9/11 hijackers. While activists today falsely portray him as a champion of peace, history records a very different figure. A political leader who waged wars, oversaw countless executions, and enforced submission by the sword. This is the legacy being whitewashed in the very city that still bears the scars of 9/11. Instead of solemn remembrance, City Hall echoed with chants of Ya Nabi Salam Alaika, an open display of Islamic supremacy in the very heart of the city, once blanketed in the smoke of burning towers. And it doesn't stop there. Adams has even appointed a Pakistani-American Muslim Women's Liaison Officer, a position dedicated to advancing New York's Muslim communities. The propaganda at this event was staggering, a masterclass in whitewashing history and portraying a ruthless warlord as humanity's savior. Speakers boasted about the so-called Charter of Medina, selling it as a document of peace, equality, and human rights. That is a lie. I don't know anything about the Charter of Medina. The Charter was nothing more than a temporary tribal pact Muhammad used to consolidate power. Jews were only tolerated if they stayed loyal, and when they resisted, they were expelled, enslaved, or slaughtered. I can't tell you if this is true or not, because I don't know anything about that pact. To call this a model of coexistence is a deliberate distortion meant to deceive the public into believing Islam invented tolerance. Why is New York normalizing Islamic propaganda at the expense of truth, history, and the memory of 9/11 victims? Instead of holding Islam accountable for its violent legacy, City Hall is elevating it, sanitizing it, and turning it into a civic celebration. This is shameful and dangerous surrender. And here is the video that was included.
We must find a way to make this an official holiday for Prophet Muhammad.
Thank you.
They continue to accomplish.
Allah the Almighty introduced him in the Quran. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ
Sorry, I had to tab back in.
Muhammad is mercy for all. Not only for the Muslims, not for the Jews, not for the Christians, not for others, no, but all.
The Prophet ﷺ taught us through his life example that true faith is not only in prayer.
That we're here to give today is a message of love, peace, and mercy, and that was a message of our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ 1,500 years ago.
Celebrate 1,500 years of mercy. It is about our Prophet that our God Almighty said in the Quran, "We have not sent you, O Muhammad, but as mercy for mankind."
Mayor Eric Adams has done what no other leader has done. Opened the city for Muslims. Yes. There have been so many for Muslims.
What the fuck did they mean by mercy? It's a mercy to bring the infidel to his own God. Mercy is a strange way to describe killing 3,000 people 24 years ago. Yeah, it's a little weird. A little weird. Mercy is stained in blood, heretics. Islam was not and has never been a religion of peace and love. I don't know how this mass brainwashing has exactly worked here, right? But it is wild to hear something like this. I'm not even sure what to say about it. 100% violation of church and state separation. One thing that people don't seem to know about the separation of church and state was that it was not to keep the church out of government, it was to keep the government out of church. So as long as you remember that that was its purpose, there's a lot less things to get angry about. You put them in charge of the gays, see what happens. New York has a very large Jewish population, so if I was here and I was a Jew and I was seeing like 1,500 years of compassion and gratitude and mercy signs here, I'd be like, Habibi, it's time to move, bro. I used to joke about making Escape from New York a reality by walling off Manhattan. It's no longer a joke. Yeah, the Jews are gonna need their tunnels back, man. They're gonna need those tunnels back. Raid on an upstate New York food manufacturer leads to dozens of detentions. Federal agents conducted a surprise raid at a snack bar manufacturer in Cato, New York, taking away dozens of workers. I love to hear it, man. That sounds beautiful. Federal agents forced open the doors of a snack bar manufacturer and took away dozens of workers in a surprise enforcement action that the plant's co-owner called terrifying. This is the form of aloha snack bar that I can enjoy. Is that a euphemism? No, I think this is real. And that's why I like it. Video and photos taken at the Nutrition Bar Confectioners plant Thursday showed numerous law enforcement vehicles outside the plant and workers being escorted from the building to a Border Patrol van. Immigration agents ordered everyone to a lunchroom where they asked for proof the workers were in the country legally, according to one 24-year-old worker who was briefly detained. The reason for the enforcement action was unclear. Local law enforcement officials said the operation was led by U.S. Homeland Security Investigations, which did not respond to requests for information. Nutrition Bar Confectioners co-owner Lenny Schmidt said he was also in the dark about the purpose of the raid. The purpose of an ICE raid is to arrest the illegals you have working there. And it should only be terrifying for the fact that you guys should have to pay millions of dollars in fines for hiring illegal workers. There's got to be a better way to do it, Schmidt told the Associated Press on Friday at the family-owned business in Cato, New York, about 30 miles west of Syracuse. The facility's employees had all been vetted and had legal documentation, Schmidt said, adding that he would have cooperated with law enforcement if he'd been told there were concerns. So he didn't even have any illegal workers and it was just a check. Maybe they were checking on a tip that somebody put in. Still, I'd rather our ICE employees be doing this and checking for the illegals, right? Coming in like they did, it's frightening for everybody. The Latinos, Hispanics that work here, everybody else that works here as well, even myself and my family. It's terrifying, he said. If I was at a place, let's just say a bank, and ICE came in and they were like, we're going to have to ask nobody to leave until we check your papers, I would not be afraid at all. I would be like, here's my license. I've lived in this country since I was born. I was like, what? I don't know, man. I'm scared of fines. It wouldn't be terrifying if nothing wrong was done. Yeah, exactly. Cayuga County Sheriff Brian Schneck said his deputies were among those on the scene Thursday morning after being asked a month ago to assist federal agencies in executing a search warrant relative to an ongoing criminal investigation. Well, that just makes it even more normal. If it's part of a criminal investigation, this could happen no matter where you work. This could happen literally anywhere. The police could come in and be like, hello, we've come to your ketchup manufacturing plant due to a criminal investigation. We're going to need to question some of your employees. Right? Like, come on, man. He did not detail the nature of the investigation. The lack of explanation left State Senator Rachel May, a Democrat who represents the district, with questions. It's not clear to me if it's a long-standing criminal investigation why the workers would have been rounded up, May said by phone Friday. I feel like there are things that don't quite add up. Because if it's a criminal investigation and if it's involving ICE, that's probably because they're investigating something that happened with an illegal migrant. And if they believe that the illegal migrant works at one of the facilities in the area, they're going to round up the employees and they're going to check their immigration status. I mean, that just seems like common sense, maybe? The 24-year-old worker who spoke to the Associated Press on condition of anonymity because he feared retribution said that after he showed the agents he is a legal U.S. resident, they wrote down his information and photographed him. Some of the women started to cry because their kids were at school or at daycare. It was very sad to see, said the worker who arrived from Guatemala 6 years ago and then became a legal resident 2 years ago after working with an immigration attorney. Well, then he's here legally. He's fine. He's fine. What do they mean? The women started to cry because their kids were at school or daycare. What did they mean by this? He said his partner lacked legal status and was among those taken away.
Flashback.
The facility's employees had all been vetted and had legal documentation, Schmidt said, adding that he would have cooperated with law enforcement if he'd been told there were concerns.
End of flashback.
Which one? Did they all have legal documentation, or did this guy's partner lack legal status and was taken away? Can we get some consistency here, please? The two of them started working at the factory about 2 years ago. He was assigned to the snack bar wrapping department and she to the packing area. He said he couldn't talk to her before she was led away by agents and didn't know Friday where she had been detained. What they're doing to us is not right. We're here to work. We're not criminals. Oh, no, you are criminals because she's here illegally. You might not be if you worked with an immigration attorney and you got citizenship, but she definitely is. Schmidt said he believed immigration enforcement agents are singling out any company with some sort of Hispanic workforce, whether small or large. The raid came the same day that immigration authorities detained 475 people, most of them South Korean nationals, at a manufacturing site in Georgia, where Korean automaker Hyundai makes electric vehicles. Without his missing employees, Schmidt estimated production at the food manufacturer would drop by about half, making it a challenge to meet customer demand. The plant employs close to 230 people. I don't really care. Also, once again, without his missing employees, Schmidt estimated production at the food manufacturer would drop by about half. But then up here, once again, the facility's employees had all been vetted and had legal documentation, Schmidt said. Which one is it, Schmidt? Are they all legal and vetted? Or are you going to struggle losing half your workforce being taken away by ICE? Which one is it? Yeah, I just don't believe him. As a hold the fucking phone, brother. We'll just do what we need to do to move forward to give our customers the product that they need, he said, and then slowly rehire where we need. New York Governor Kathy Hochul, a Democrat, said the workers detained included parents of at least a dozen children at risk of returning from school to an empty house. Well, it shouldn't be empty. There should be ICE agents there ready to take the kids, because the kids obviously are also not here legally if the parents are not here legally, so they can be deported as a family. Don't break the families up, deport them together. I've made it clear New York will work with the federal government to secure our borders and deport violent criminals, but we will never stand for masked ICE agents separating families and abandoning children, she said in a statement. Yeah, I agree. Don't separate families and abandon the children. Deport them together. They can go home together. The advocacy group Rural and Migrant Ministry said between 50 and 60 people, most of them from Guatemala, were still being held Friday. Among those released late Thursday after about 11 hours was a mother of a newborn child who needed to nurse her baby, said the group's chief program officer, Wilmer Jimenez. Anchor baby? The worker who was briefly detained said he has been helping to support his parents and siblings who grow corn and beans in Guatemala. So even though he's here legally, he's taking his wages and he's sending them back to Guatemala. How is this person enriching our country? How is this person wanting to be an American? He said he took Friday off, but plans to get back to work on Monday. I have to go back because I can't be without work. Man, he's actually draining our economy. Yep. If the child of an illegal alien has legal citizen status, they can freely return to America once they're of age. Until then, they must go with their family. A child of illegal aliens wouldn't have legal status unless they got their paperwork done. So, cause like, birthright citizenship, man, ain't no way. I want that shit gone. Deporting illegals was fine until the orange man did it. That's your conclusion so far. 4% of Mexico's GDP is unironically leeching off the US economy. That's a little insane. This is from the US Attorney's Office, District of New Hampshire. Literally a press release on justice.gov. Manchester woman arrested on animal crush video distribution charges. I didn't know that this was still happening. Like, I remember all of the, like, monkey torture videos from a decade or more ago and how people got in giga trouble from that. How is this happening in current year? A Manchester woman was arrested on an indictment charging her with the distribution of animal crush videos, U.S. Attorney Erin Cregan announced. Lynn Seymour, 51, of Manchester, was indicted on 1 count of distribution of animal crush videos and 1 count of conspiracy. Seymour appeared in federal court today and was released pending further court proceedings. According to the charging document, Seymour is alleged to have participated in and served as the administrator for private online groups, which included hundreds of members. The purpose of the groups was to exchange and distribute animal crush videos depicting the torture, murder, sexually sadistic mutilation, and sexual abuse of animals, specifically baby and adult monkey. Oh my god, it was even monkeys this time too! Why do people want to torture monkeys? And why is there a market to sell monkey torture videos too? I don't understand, man. Like, I think monkeys are ugly, but I'm not gonna hurt a monkey, man. The charge of distribution of Animal Crush videos provides a sentence of no greater than 7 years in prison. And the conspiracy charges provides a sentence of no greater than 5 years. Both charges can carry terms of supervised release of up to 3 years and fines of up to $250,000. Sentences are imposed by a federal district court judge based upon the U.S. sentencing guidelines and statutes which govern the determination of a sentence in a criminal case. The investigation was led by the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the U.S. Department of Agriculture Office of Inspector General. Assistant U.S. Attorney Charles Rambeau is prosecuting the case. The details contained in the charging documents are allegations. The defendant is presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. I just don't understand how you get to this point where you're, like, not only are you torturing animals, but you're like, yeah, let's record videos of torturing animals and sell them. Like, this is fucking wild, dude. Animal torturing sounds like a substitute for human snuff films. I feel like people who are willing to do this kind of thing to animals will eventually move on to humans. This is a chick who got, like, angry at a Phillies game. I guess, like, there was a baseball or some shit, and she wanted it, and, like, a dad of a kid gave her the ball. And I guess, thankfully, the kid has, like, been reached out to by the team, and he's been given a lot more than just a ball. So, I mean, they won in the end, let's be real. And this woman might have gotten her ball. But now everybody knows her face and hates her. So, I don't know if it was really worth it. I don't know if it was really fucking worth it, Karen. Okay? Scumbag Karen. Oh my god, she got fired? What the fuck? I don't know if getting fired is a good thing here. Like, yeah, she was kind of a bitch to a kid, but, like, I don't know, losing your job seems a little strange in that regard. Did she get fired? I don't know if you should lose your job over that. That feels a little weird. That feels a little too far for me. She works with children at a school? Okay, never mind. She works with children at a school. That makes a bit more sense. I was just picturing her being like, I don't know, some desk jockey somewhere. So Matt said, it's fitting that these two stories, and he has a picture of the baseball Karen and the Ukrainian refugee that got stabbed and murdered. He said, it's fitting that these two stories are going viral at the same time. They're very much related. The reason the guy on the right was out on the street is because our criminal justice is run by and tailored to the sensitivities of women like the one on the left. And he's completely right, unfortunately. These women feel immense compassion for the animal on the right, but they are themselves deeply cruel and callous people, as the woman on the left demonstrated. It's not that our criminal justice system has been feminized exactly, it's that it has been feministized. I wrote the above before I even knew the mayor of the town where the stabbing happened, who is now defending the killer and calling for compassion, is literally the black version of the woman at the baseball game. And I think this is a very normal take for what is happening here. The woman on the left, like he said, is a deeply cruel and callous person. But in order for people to not know how deeply cruel and callous she is, she feels she has a responsibility to look like a good person by showing compassion and care to the dregs of society. To only the worst and most terrible of criminals. They deserve her compassion because it makes her look like a better person. Because she is willing to show care to people that most people would not. The thing that she fails to take into consideration is that makes her look insane and not compassionate. Because there is a reason that most people do not give compassion to the dregs of society. Is the mayor that fat-looking Karen in the next picture? Yeah, this is apparently the mayor that issued that statement calling for compassion that we read earlier. The stabber now lives in the mayor's house. Oh god, if only. How does that make her look better? She just looks like someone that is discarding the victim. Because when you think about the Oppression Olympics, a white refugee from Ukraine is not high enough on the Oppression Olympics pyramid to outrank a homeless black man with mental health issues. So he's basically allowed to do whatever the fuck he wants because he has more oppression points than she does. A woman was shot and killed along the 1200 block of Chestnut Street in City Center on Friday, Philly police said. An arrest was made after a woman was shot and killed in Center City, Philadelphia, police confirmed. On Friday, September 5th, around 5:50 p.m., police responded to a reported shooting on the 1200 block of Chestnut Street. When they arrived, they found a woman suffering from a gunshot wound. The unidentified woman was taken to the hospital where she was pronounced dead at 7:18 p.m. One person is in custody in connection to the shooting, police said. Investigators have not yet revealed the suspect's identity. While police have not said what led to the deadly shooting, a man who did not want to be identified told NBC 10 he witnessed the incident. The man said the woman was shot 6 times after she was arguing outside a 7-Eleven. She was fighting with the homeless guy outside the store. The woman took a gun out, and she had a gun, but then the homeless guy took the gun from the woman, and he shot the woman at least 6 times. Well, that's interesting. I kind of want to know what happened here. Why would she pull a gun on him? I don't know. That's why I said, like, I want to know what was going on. Maybe she felt fucking threatened. But yeah, if she hesitated and he got the gun from her, like, holy shit. That's why you train. Why would she pull a gun on him and then not use it? I think a lot of people are used to, like, seeing in the movies, right? Where, like, you draw a gun and then you warn them that you're going to shoot. But if you're in a situation as, like, a random individual and you have been threatened enough to pull out the gun, pulling it out and then doing the movie thing of I'm going to shoot if you only gives them an opening to then do more damage to you. Like, if you're going to draw your firearm in defense, you should just use it right then in defense. We need more context before determining what happened here fully. Yeah, apparently, according to my mods in the video, it shows her being shot in the back of the head execution style. And he shot 6 bullets into her. So 6 bullets with, I'm guessing, the final one being that one, which, fucking holy shit. I don't think anything she would have done warrants that. And the fight was already happening when the video started. Hard to say who was the aggressor. Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna have to, hopefully more information comes out. But the woman, regardless of what information came out, even if she was in the wrong for pulling a firearm, 0 chance that anything in this that happened deserved her getting shot like that. Like, this outcome is wrong no matter what. Alabama man who called himself Angel of Death arrested and accused of threatening a California monastery. Joshua Michael Richardson, 38, made threats by email before traveling cross-country with several weapons, the Orange County Sheriff's Department alleged. I like how there are some people who are just like, online threats should be allowed because they're just online. And who cares about online threats? It's like, well, if you're making threats online, there's literally no way to delineate between someone who's trying to be funny and failing miserably and someone who's serious. So it's better to take all threats as serious just in case. A heavily armed Alabama man who called himself the Angel of Death is alleged to have threatened a South California monastery and made a cross-country trip to the Catholic Abbey last month, authorities said Wednesday. Joshua Michael Richardson, 38, was arrested and accused of threatening St. Michael's Abbey in Silverado, about 50 miles southeast of downtown LA. He had been charged on suspicion of committing 3 felonies, making criminal threats, possession of brass knuckles, and possession of a dirk or dagger, Orange County prosecutors said in a criminal complaint. Richardson also faces 1 misdemeanor count of possession of a large-capacity magazine. The criminal acts were carried out with planning, sophistication, and professionalism, as he drove from Alabama to the victim church to reiterate threats he had made via email. He was being held in Orange County Jail on a $50,000 bond Thursday morning. And see, this is why, right? This is why when I was getting a bunch of threats, I called my local police and I was like, hey bros, is there like anything I can do about this? And they were like, well, unless an action happens, we can't do too much, but if you would feel safer, is there somewhere you can go in the interim? Like, do you have like friends or family you can stay with? And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, you know, I'll just do that, I guess. I'd rather be in Bunkerland for a while than end up in a news story because I shot an intruder, you know? He was being held in Orange County Jail on a $50,000 bond. The walls of our churches are not just symbols of sanctuary. They represent the most sacred places of worship and of peace, Orange County District Attorney Todd Spitzer said in a statement. No one should have to worship in fear that a stranger would walk through the door with the intent to carry out their own day of judgment and determine who lives and who dies. The district attorney's office said St. Michael's Abbey first received an email from Richardson on August 19th, in which he referred to himself as the rider of a pale horse, an apparent reference to the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse in the book of Revelation. He is alleged to have threatened to do the Lord's reaping before his harvest at the church. Damn, he's got a full fucking Tarkov kit out here. What the fuck? In his email, Richardson claimed to be Michael, the Angel of Death, and explained that he chose St. Michael's Abbey as it is one of the few churches in the nation that still practices Michaelmas. What? The DA's statement said, referring to the Christian celebration signifying the end of the harvest, by the way. Richardson also said in the email that he would soon be traveling to the California church from Alabama soon. The DA's statement alleged. Prosecutors say Richardson arrived at the church on August 26th and attended the afternoon church service. Afterward, he followed the priest into a private area of the church. Richardson told the priest that he came to do the Lord's work, to separate the weak from the weeds, and that he rode his pale white horse from Alabama. He was arrested 2 days later. The Orange County Sheriff's Department said that during the arrest, investigators searched his car and found body armor, high-capacity magazines, brass knuckles, and knives. One thing I am grateful for is that these people that have in their mind that they're like some special crazy person who determines who gets murdered, you know, that these people are actually dumb enough to let their plans leak out before they do them so that we can catch them before they actually harm anyone. It is such a relief that the majority of these people are so incompetent that we can actually catch them and save lives. Investigators also recovered a stun gun, duct tape, rope, walkie-talkies, and other tactical gear, prosecutors said. Though no guns or ammunition were recovered, the sheriff's department said. That's really weird. Why would you have a bunch of, like, magazines and fucking shit if you didn't have any guns to use them with? That's so strange. We're grateful to the authorities for their quick action in ensuring the safety of our parish community, the Archdiocese of Orange County said in a statement. He's hiding the guns. I mean, maybe he just hid them somewhere, but, like, man, what? Again, I'm very glad that the people who try this shit tend to be incompetent. Because if they were actually competent, we'd have many more problems. So I'm grateful for that. The small mercies, as it were. The Archdiocese urged parishioners to be alert to threats in the wake of this incident and last week's slaying of 2 children at a Catholic school in Minneapolis. In today's environment of increased threats against churches, and particularly mindful of recent events in Minnesota, our parishes and schools continue to strengthen security efforts and remain vigilant to help protect our parishioners, students, and staff, said the Archdiocese, which ministers to 1.3 million Catholics in suburban LA. An attorney for Richardson or his family could not immediately be reached for comment Thursday. And so hopefully we'll get another update on this pretty soon. So sheriffs seek to identify a man found dead in a pool of blood at Burning Man Festival. It's very ominous. A murder investigation was launched Sunday after an apparent homicide as authorities asked for public help. Nevada sheriffs are asking the public's help in identifying a man killed on Saturday in an apparent homicide at the Burning Man Festival. In a statement on Monday, Pershing County Sheriff Jerry Allen asked for assistance to identify the man, who was found dead in the furthest encampment of Black Rock City as the festival reaching its climax when an effigy, the eponymous Burning Man, was set alight. You know, I've always found it really weird that Burning Man is like the peak of degeneracy. It's like a degenerate fucking Sodom and Gomorrah festival for a weekend, and it's called Black Rock City. You know, no relation, but I've always found that really funny. We are specifically looking to identify the white male adult descendant who is between the ages of 35 and 40, approximately 6 feet tall and 200 pounds, with short brown hair and facial hair, Allen said in a statement reported by the Reno Gazette-Journal. The sheriff's office are looking for any information from people who heard or saw anything between 8 and 9:30 p.m. We're also currently seeking information regarding any suspect identifiers for any person who would commit such a heinous crime against another human being. At this time, no information is too small to disregard, so do not hesitate to contact my office. A murder investigation was launched on Sunday after a man was found lying in a pool of blood on Saturday night. That came after a festival goer alerted a police officer that a man was found lying on the ground, obviously deceased. Part of the site was cordoned off as an on-site police began investigating. Organizers with the Burning Man project said it was cooperating with law enforcement. In a statement, Burning Man officials asked those still on the playa to not interfere with law enforcement. The safety and well-being of our community are paramount, Burning Man said. Sheriff Allen said several participants in the immediate area were interviewed. Although this act appears to be a singular crime, all participants should always be vigilant of their surroundings and acquaintances, Allen warned. There's no further information at this time, but it will be released as appropriate to provide for communication, while still preserving the integrity of the complicated investigation of a crime in a city which will be gone by the middle of the week, he added. Burning Man has become the site of unexpected attention in recent years. In 2023, it was washed out by a strong rainstorm that turned the desert to mud, killing one person. This year, a dust storm tore temporary structures away, including one named the Orgy Dome. I don't think an orgy dome should be a real thing. Hot take. The festival has previously experienced deaths, including when a man ran into the fire in 2017. Last week, Burning Man co-founder John Law made a rude gesture when he was asked to describe the festival, saying it had strayed far from its late-stage counterculture origins in the 1980s. Has it? Or has it just continued along the path it was always destined for? We were going to go out to the Black Rock Desert to just go crazy and, drive 100 miles an hour with the lights out, set bonfires, and go up to the hot springs. We didn't plan on bringing any art with us, Law said. But he broke with the festival in 1996 when it grew large and more commercialized. It's a giant party for rich white people, Law told San Francisco Gate. They're selling the idea of freedom, and it's not free. The whole philosophy, it's a bunch of crap. He added that the festival now demands conformity. The star fuckers started coming around, and it's as clubby in its own way as the Elks or some hunting lodge in Minnesota. Oh man, hippie man did not realize what he was starting. Ah yes, the commercialization is the problem. The dad of the Burning Man homicide victim demands justice after son found in pool of blood. And yeah, this is the correct response from a father. This is the correct response, not, I forgive the people who killed my son. The father of a Russian man found dead at Burning Man Festival is demanding justice after authorities confirmed his son was the victim of a homicide that rocked the famous art and music gathering. Vadim Kruglov, a 37-year-old Russian national who had been living in Washington state, was named as the victim found lying in a pool of blood, according to the Pershing County Sheriff's Office. His death cast a grim shadow over the annual event held in Nevada's Black Rock Desert. In a video posted to Facebook Thursday, his father, Igor Kruglev, said words can't express his feelings over the loss of his son. Aw, he looks like he would have been a good character in an Adam Sandler movie, too. I'm proud of my son, now known worldwide, Igor Kruglov, speaking in Russian, said in the video. I feel bad for the dad, right? None of this should have happened, but when they say that he's a Russian national living in Washington state, I'm wondering why is he speaking in Russian instead of English? He felt injustice deeply and fought for fairness always. I believe a similar situation occurred here. This world is often unfair, but as a peaceful man, I seek justice. I want those responsible to face consequences. As they should. Nobody should go to a festival and be murderated. Igor Kruglov also expressed gratitude to his son's friends for reaching out to him in the aftermath of the tragedy, noting everyone's helping however they can. The Pershing County Sheriff's Office told Fox News Digital Friday it had no new updates to share regarding the investigation. Burning Man organizers have issued their condolences, saying, "Our hearts go out to Vadim's family and friends, and we grieve the loss of a community member." Organizers also confirmed they were fully cooperating with law enforcement. Burning Man Project is doing everything we can to assist the sheriff's investigation so the perpetrator can be caught and brought to justice. This includes a coordinated donation to the Secret Witness Program, which offers rewards for tips aiding the investigation. The incident occurred on the evening of August 30th between 8 and 9:30 p.m., according to the Sheriff's Office. The annual event, which attracts tens of thousands of participants known as burners, transforms the desert into a temporary city complete with large-scale art installations, themed camps, and the iconic ceremonial burns. But somebody did their part. Oh god, I hope that's not the case. If somebody had a fucking psychotic break and did something to this dude because he's Russian, that is incredibly fucked up. Come on, Kirsche, they're leftists. You know that can happen. I mean, yeah, I know that can happen. But if it comes out that this guy was unironically targeted by some crazed person because he was Russian, that would add the extra hate crime angle onto it. They heard him speak Russian and freaked out. I certainly fucking hope not. I certainly hope not, man. That would be extra insult to injury, and his poor father, if his father found out about that, dude. The two final evenings of the festival include a pair of large-scale burns. The first involves participants loading a 100-foot-tall wooden effigy of a man with fireworks, and the second consists of the burning of the temple. Authorities were alerted to the festival when an attendee flagged down an officer on Saturday evening, leading to the discovery of the victim police described in a new release Monday as obviously deceased. The area was immediately secured, and investigators have since interviewed several individuals who may have been nearby. Despite the shock surrounding the event, officials have indicated that the death appears to be an isolated incident. The sheriff's office said earlier this week that it is continuing its investigation and seeking public assistance. The sheriff's office believes witnesses from the community could hold vital clues. And they have a number here if you want to call and give information. Burning Man organizers stress the importance of not obstructing the investigation. The safety and well-being of our community are paramount, they said, according to the Associated Press. Support services are also reportedly available to participants who may be affected. But the number of videos of Burning Man volunteers attempting to prevent charges being brought or police investigation makes you glow. A little bit. It's a little bit glowy. That jobs.now thing that I talked about weeks ago, it was a website that's reposting job listings that aren't supposed to be found by Americans. So these are job listings that go out in like newspapers or on obscure websites and not on a company's main website or on listing places like Indeed or Monster or jobs.com or whatever still exists now. And so they've been posting the job notices that H-1B visa people typically are supposed to see and Americans are not supposed to see. And the jobs.now Twitter account said, "Today we received a copyright notice from Instacart about this job ad. Our records indicate it had 9 logged applications from users. Unfortunately, our hosting provider is requiring us to take it down. So going forward, you won't see any Instacart ads on the main website. However, we will continue to post jobs from the instant carting company that we find on this account." And they posted a screenshot that said, "May be stationed anywhere in U.S. reporting to San Francisco. Application instructions, mail resumes to Instacart, attention to K. Kim Global Mobility." And then it posts the address here for the job posting. And then Cernovich said, "Please post the DMCA." And then their DMCA here says, "To whom it may concern, we hereby notify you on behalf of Instacart and its affiliated companies, collectively Instacart, that the following URL," and it posts a jobs.now URL for the Senior Associate Marketing Strategy Planning ref, "which you are hosting contains the content, the infringing content, which infringes the intellectual property rights, goodwill, and reputation of Instacart, including but not limited to the following trademarks, the Instacart, owned by Instacart. Such unauthorized use of the infringing content in the URL infringes on the intellectual property rights, goodwill, and reputation of Instacart and causes consumer confusion as to whether the infringing content is authorized, endorsed, or sponsored by Instacart, when in fact it is not. Instacart has had an obligation to the public to police against any infringing website content which may cause consumer marketplace confusion. Such actions dilute Instacart, harm its good associated will, and constitute, inter alia, a misappropriation and violation of the rights of Instacart. This damage to its business entitles Instacart to various forms of relief, including monetary compensation." So like the rest of it, obviously they're just saying, you're going to take this down. All right, you're going to take this down or we're going to get legal. And that's pretty fucked, actually. That they're claiming copyright in order to get this guy to try and take down job listings that they don't want American citizens to see. Someone here said, "As someone with 20 plus years experience in this place, it would be very simple to comply with DMCA without having to remove the listing from your site. Be happy to share how in private for obvious reasons." The jobs.now replied, "Yeah, it's not even actually DMCA. We've done those adjustments before. They're claiming trademark infringement because we said Instacart on the webpage." And that's why they changed it to the Instant Carting Company. I doubt discussing it is a matter of a public and legal concern. So, you know, that's very funny. That's very funny that Instacart thought that this would work in order to protect their H-1B visa racketeering. Get fucked, Instant Carting Company. Excellent troll. You love to see it. Viterbo, attack on Santa Rosa procession prevented. 2 Turks have been arrested with an arsenal of weapons. And this is on Italian.news. So this is a terror attack in Italy that was thwarted. A possible attack on the famous Macchina di Santa Rosa procession in Viterbo was thwarted yesterday, Wednesday. And just a few hours before the start, special forces arrested 2 heavily armed men. The event, which traditionally takes place in the dark, was then held for the first time with the streetlights switched on. Viterbo, the central Italian city of Viterbo, narrowly escaped a potential catastrophe on Wednesday evening. A suspected attack on the world-famous Macchina di Santa Rosa procession, which is recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site, was prevented by a swift police operation. The arrest of 2 heavily armed suspects led to unprecedented security measures, breaking a centuries-old tradition and keeping the city on tenterhooks. Around 6 p.m., just 3 hours before the transport of the almost 30-meter-high lighthouse was due to begin, officers from the Digos anti-terrorism unit stormed a guest house in the historic center. The accommodation was located directly on the planned route of the procession. 2 men of Turkish origin were arrested there, and in their room, the investigators seized an arsenal consisting of a submachine gun, several pistols with ammunition, and suspicious components that could indicate explosive devices. The highest alert level was immediately declared. The security plan was massively tightened, snipers were positioned on the roofs, and special units of the NOCS, as well as anti-sabotage dog squads, secured the entire route. As the most visible measure, it was decided to leave the street lighting switched on along large parts of the route. A break with tradition, according to which the tower should be the only source of light to break the absolute darkness. Investigators are now working hard to establish the background to the crime. A possible connection with organized crime in Turkey is considered likely, as there have already been several arrests of high-ranking members in the Viterbo region in the past. The District Directorate for Combating the Mafia has taken over the investigation. Are they trying to say that this Turkish terrorist attack was connected to the mafia? How would that make sense? The unusually bright procession initially caused confusion and resentment among the population at the break with tradition. However, when the news of the arrests and the averted danger made the rounds, the disappointment quickly gave way to relief and understanding for the necessity of the measures. The initial investigations revealed that a terrorist background was out of the question. For this reason, the street lighting was switched off during the transport at around 22:40, as tradition demands. Viterbo thus experienced a night that was as festive as it was tense, safe in the knowledge that it escaped a possible bloodbath. And I mean, fucking actually good on the police for preventing something like this. Usually we have to read the unfortunate aftermaths of something happening. So it's very good that this was caught in time and they were able to arrest the guys who would have been responsible for something fucking terrible.